I have big aspirations for this year in the 100-mile distance. That's half a year away. And I know that if I want to have big gains for that half a year, how am I going to do it? Hey guys, Andrew Snow here, and I'm going to talk with you about what I just did. And that was Firefly Ultra. Just did it 2 days ago. It's a 12-hour group race. I quite like 12-hour races. I'll tell you that I did pretty well. And let's take a look into how I did it, not just with my training, but more importantly, what I ate to fuel it. Because I see a lot of people out there who are eating basically bull on their runs. It's almost like blasphemy in the ultra running world to not have horrible food and beer. And look, I can appreciate that there's like taking the edge off when you're pushing really hard and like putting stuff in that just kind of like numbs you. But is it best for performance? I mean, we know that the answer can't be that a bacon cheeseburger and a shot of whiskey is gonna be ideal fuel for racing at a shorter distance. So why would it be good fuel for racing a longer distance? Now it does work for some people, but it makes sense to me to put good in to get good out. So I've done both ends of the spectrum, and I'm gonna share with you exactly what I did here so that maybe you can take some of this and apply it to your runs, whether they be really long distance runs, or if you're a marathon runner or a half marathon runner, or really anything, because what you put in is going to dictate how well you can put out. Now, if you're interested in fueling specifically for the marathon, then you can check out this short that we have here. That's a lot more scientific. When you get into the ultra distances, it's a little bit more of an art, but check out that video here if that's specifically what you're interested in. I eat fruit. And let me tell you just a little bit of my story here. For 10 years, I've eaten only plant-based. And a lot of that time, it has been fruits, vegetables, starches, grains, things like that. But I'll also eat like the vegan meats and the vegan pizzas and all kinds of nonsense like that for 10 years, but it's been 100% plant-based. I've started to move into much more whole food plant-based in the last 2 to 3 years, meaning that there's little additives here. I'm not adding salt. I'm definitely not adding oil. It's basically a whole food that could be raw or could be cooked, like a whole potato that's just baked and I just eat it. Or oats with blueberries, or big salads and lots of fruit. But then I've really wanted to take my performance to the next level because I have big aspirations for this year in the 100-mile distance. I have a 100-mile race coming up in about 3 weeks. It's called the Hellbender 100, and it's taglined really as the most difficult 100-miler in the East. I'm not too worried about this one. I'm gonna do it mostly for fun. But then in the fall, I'm gonna be running the Javelina 100. And this one is really competitive. It's a fast course, and I really wanna see what I can do. It really does kind of compare you with some of the better runners in the country. Camille Herron is gonna be there. Courtney Dauwalter is gonna be there. That's, half a year away. And I know that if I wanna have big gains for that half a year, how am I gonna do it? Is it gonna come down to training? Yeah, I mean, training matters, doesn't it? But I'm already training at about the level that I'm gonna sustain for a long time here. I mean, I can always increase, always do better, as we all can, right? But the thing that's gonna move the needle for me, I'm convinced, is going to be improving diet even more. So what I did was I went raw vegan. And so there's some like catchwords here. I mean, using the word vegan sometimes has like a hook, a social hook into it. So let's just say raw fruits and vegetables. But April 1st, I went not only completely raw, but I did completely juice. I had only fresh pressed fruit and vegetable juices that I made at home for 10 days. And during those 10 days, I did 3 long runs. And the long runs were about 5 hours to sometimes more, up and down the mountains, and I felt great. But then after I got off of the 10 days of juice, I've been completely raw ever since. So I'm going into the 12-hour race, coming off of 3 weeks of either 100% juice or completely raw, on 100% fruits and vegetables and a little bit of nuts. So it's not practical really to just be like stuffing your face with all this fruit during a race. It is during my daily life, like my breakfast was this half a watermelon here. I'm gonna go eat the other half after this video. But during a race, it just takes a lot of time, a lot of chewing. So I juice for these races. And so the day before, we did a lot of preparation in order to make sure I had enough juice. Check it out. I like to keep it really light. So we got lots of juice. We got grapefruit juice, 32 ounces of grapefruit juice. We got tangerine juice. We got orange juice. We've got orange grapefruit tangerine juice. Then my favorite, this is the one I'm really excited for. We've got 2 watermelon juices and then a big watermelon juice. I'm most excited for watermelon juice. All right, welcome back. Now, for the first 5 hours of the 12-hour race, I fueled off of completely juice. The volunteers were great, and so I asked them when I came by to just fill my bottle for me out of my cooler, and I was just running well off of this. It's very hydrating. It's got a good amount of calories. If you drink a lot, you're getting about 300 calories per bottle that I was having, and you just absorb it. So there's no cost of energy when it comes to digestion. You just get instantaneous energy and instantaneous hydration. It's really great. I didn't have to stop for number 2s at all. And when I pee, honestly, I just keep walking. There's nobody around on the trail, and I just kind of like walk while peeing, and it's a great way to save time. If that's TMI, well, you're in the wrong place, because we go there on this channel. Okay, so how'd I do in the race? Each lap was about 3.1 miles, and I went out nice and easy, nice and conservative, and I paced it pretty conservatively early on. I knew about what pace I could hold, and I was just a little bit faster than that early on in the race, but only by like 30 seconds per mile. No big deal. So I just kind of like stayed really conservative, and I was in 7th place for the majority of this race, at least at the beginning. Not the majority of the whole race, but for the first 2-3 hours, maybe 4 hours, I was just hanging out, 7th place. And the guys in 1st and 2nd, they were way ahead. They were half an hour ahead. I thought they might even lap me. Probably came pretty close. And I just stayed steady and drank my juice. I didn't stop for like nonsense food. I didn't stop to do number 2s. I didn't stop because I had GI problems. A lot of people, after several hours, they start needing a break. They're getting really tired. Maybe because they started running too fast, but maybe because they're eating junk. Who knows? But people start slowing down. And then I found myself running in 5th place. And then 4th place. And I hung out there for a while, and I just stayed steady. And after another hour or 2, I found myself running in 3rd place. But number 1 and 2, they were still way ahead. They were still 28 minutes or so ahead at this point. So I kind of figured maybe I'm just gonna hold on 3rd place and we'll see. But I knew that these guys had gone out like really fast. And I also kind of just have faith in my training. And I also kind of just have faith, honestly, that the way I'm treating my body with the fruits and vegetables is going to pay dividends for me later on. With recovery and with the end of the race, I just kind of have faith in that. Why do I feel like this? Well, essentially it's ease of digestion and maximum amount of clean burning energy. So if you were to even eat the fruit, not even the juice, but just eat the fruit, it's going to take a lot of time to chew it. It's going to be heavy to carry it. Then you're going to have the fiber in your gut. Now, fiber is really important. I want a lot of fiber in my diet, but not when I'm racing. So the juice is just very convenient. It's easy to get down. It tastes delicious. It's hydrating. So I don't have to eat plus drink. I just take my juice and that's it. I get everything. I get all the electrolytes I need. But more importantly is that the kind of fuel that it gives you. Now, when you're running any distance, you're going to use carbohydrate as your fuel source. Now, as you get into the longer distances, you're going to use some fat, which is stored on your body. But you're always using carbohydrate. And the shorter the distance, the harder you're going, the more carbohydrate you're going to use. And that carbohydrate that we use is stored in our muscles and in our liver as glycogen, right? And we mobilize that glycogen and just use it to fuel our running. And so ultimately, we use glucose and we use fructose as fuel for our running. That's what our body wants to use. And guess what? Fruit is full of glucose and fructose. Fructose is fruit sugar. And the juice that I'm having is high in glucose and fructose. And sometimes when you have, a non-plant food, so you're having like some kind of gel, or you're having a burger, or you're having whatever it is, like pretzels, or that's still a plant, I guess, technically, with chemicals and stuff in it. But you're getting other things too. You might be getting lactose, you might be getting sucrose, you might be getting whatever, galactose, all kinds of other sugars, and your body can use them, but you're gonna have to convert those into glucose or fructose. mostly glucose. So when you just consume the kind of fuel that you're going to use, you get to instantaneously just have fuel. It's easy to absorb. But the second thing is not just glucose, but with fructose. Fructose actually goes through a different metabolic pathway in your body. What that means is that if you try to take in a whole bunch of glucose or a whole bunch of fuel for your running, you can't just take infinite amounts of fuel. You are going to be capped by how much your body can absorb. So how much glucose you can take in has a limit to it, and it's whatever amount per time. But you can max that out, and then you can add in fructose too. And fructose takes a different metabolic pathway so that you can actually max out your glucose and then max out your fructose, and you take that and stack it on top and you get more fuel. So it's a really cool hack that a lot of the sport nutrition companies like Scratch and Goo and all these hydration companies, they're trying to mimic this, but they're really just trying to mimic what nature does for us. And I'd rather get my glucose and fructose and hydration from the fruit itself instead of a powder that I'm mixing with water that tastes like tropical punch paradise, whatever, and it's got preservatives in it, and I'd rather just get the fruit, you know? So for the first 5 hours, I had only juice. After that, I started eating some fruit because I just wanted to change my palate. I wanted to avoid getting sloshing in my stomach from just drinking so much because it is a lot of volume. So I switched, and I would have some juice, and then I would eat a banana, or I would eat some dates. And I brought a big box of dates, and I would just, every lap, just grab a couple and eat them, take the juice, put it in my pack, and just keep on down the road. Or I'd grab a banana or two and just eat them throughout the first half mile, toss the peels, and just keep on going. So still, it's completely raw. It's juice plus raw banana and dates. Okay, then around 9 hours in, I started to get really hungry. You can imagine if you're running continuously without stopping at all, up and down the mountains for 9 hours, it's gonna be hard to keep up with your calories. And so your brain starts saying, hey, give me anything. And you start to daydream about like cakes and pastries and junk food this because you just want the calories so bad. And I don't feel like this for the most part in my normal life. I mean, I'm very satisfied off fruits and vegetables, but I'll tell you, I start daydreaming about the junkiest of junk food when I've been running for 9 hours or 10 hours or longer. So I start just like thinking that I might grab some cooked food. Now I haven't had any cooked food in 3 weeks, but they have these little bean roll-ups, and it's just like a tortilla with refried beans wrapped up. That's it, and they cut them into these like little bite-sized chunks. And I'm like, you know, that sounds pretty good at this point. And so around 10 hours into the race, I decided that I'm gonna try one of these. And I take just a little bit, it's gotta be only like 10 calories, and I ate it. And I don't know what's gonna happen. Am I gonna blow up? Am I gonna get gassy? I don't know. So I have Gas X pills. It turns out I was fine. I didn't need it. I kind of have like a pretty strong gut. It seems I don't really get GI problems when I run ever. So I took a little bean roll up. You know, it wasn't that much. Kept going and then went back to the juice. More juice, more juice, more juice. And then I started getting towards the end of the race here. And here's how it unfolded. I come around one more loop, and Anna was there, and she told me second place, or the guy who was in first place, dropped out. He ran as much as he was going to run. He was exhausted, and he stopped running. Boom, I'm in second place. Look at that. I didn't have to pick up the pace, moved up to second. The guy who's in first now, he's still 20 minutes ahead of me, and I try to catch him just by staying steady, loop after loop after loop. We're down to like an hour and a half to go. He's still 20 minutes ahead of me. I'm not catching him. Okay, I pulled a Heidi again. I let it go. I just focused on feeling free, feeling grateful. And I come around and Anna says, did you notice anything different this lap? What? No, I didn't notice anything different. Second place stopped. He's sitting down over there. I'm in first? Yeah, you're in first. Wow, look at that. How did I make up a 20-minute gap when I wasn't able to go any faster and I was going slower? It's just about being steady and getting good fuel in. Because you can kind of push through not having fuel in a shorter race, but in something like this, I mean, I'm at like 48 miles at this point, and you just need fuel. You need good fuel. So I just keep going, and it comes down to like an hour to go, and I'm in first place. And then some guy goes barreling by me, just like flying by me. up this hill. And I had no idea who this guy was. It's just some runner. And I thought he was in one of the shorter races. There's a 6-hour race going on too. And I'm like, maybe this guy came late and he's just like booking it. And he flies by me. Turns out that was the guy who had taken a break from second place. He's now winning. So I'm in second place, and I just held on there all the way through the finish. First, second, and third end up running the same distance. But I was second across the line, so I ended up getting second place in this race. And here's the fun part. In the last hour, they had meatball subs for when you finish the race. And they had vegan meatball subs. So sometimes I might eat some cooked food going forward in my life. I don't know. It's going to be mostly raw. But if I eat anything cooked, it's still going to be plant-based. So I really wanted that like salty, fatty. I just wanted calories, you know, because I'd been running now for 11 hours. And they had these vegan meatball subs. So I told myself that if I just hold on to this pace, I can have a vegan meatball sub. And I came through with 1 lap to go. And I asked the volunteer for one. My girlfriend wrapped it up in tinfoil for me. And I downed that thing. Oh boy. It was good. It was really small, but it was maybe like 300-400 calories. And I felt so good. I wouldn't have taken that had it been earlier in the race, but I only had like half an hour to go and it was going pretty slow at this point. So I ate it kind of like as a celebration. I didn't do it for fuel necessarily, although it helps. It is good calories. I took it because it was like a reward to myself. I bargained with myself. How do you get yourself to just keep going for 12 hours? Well, at 10 hours in, it's like things are hurting. Maybe you want to slow down. It's dark outside now. And I just tell myself, just stay steady. And as a reward, you can eat whatever the heck you want. And so I did. And then I finished the race and I had 2 more because they were just, I'm like, I'm done with the race now. I just want this. This is my reward. I'm going to have a little bit of the junky, crappy shit, basically. You know, it's got salt in it. It's got oil in it. I don't have any of this in my diet normally, but I'm going to take a day off. I just ran 54 miles. I think I'm okay. So I finished the race, second place. I ran 54.5 miles. I got about 6,000 plus feet of elevation gain. I just feel so thankful for the experience to be able to participate in these races, but I feel a duty to represent a healthy plant-based diet. So, you know, Oreos and Fruit Loops are vegan as well, but I don't believe that I'm going to perform well eating those things. So I have a duty to myself and to the community that I'm representing to not eat the Oreos and the nonsense, but to fuel with real food that sustains life, that hydrates, that gives us enzymes to be able to digest these things, that makes me feel so good. I love eating fruit. And I feel that by running these races while fueling as a raw vegan, it gets to debunk a lot of questions that people would have. They'd say, don't you need protein? There's protein in fruit and vegetables. And they say like, I could never do that. Well, I'm not gonna say you could or couldn't, but I can do it. And I'm built just like everybody else. Still have the same intestines, the same, you know, I'm just human. There are a lot of runners who do this. And I'm gonna run 100 miles off of this. I've run 200 miles off of only plants. There's no limit to this. I'd love for you to just consider for yourself what quality of food you put in, because sometimes we give ourselves license to really eat a bunch of junk food, and we think we have license because we think we can outrun it as an athlete. But the truth is that if you're running a lot and then you're eating a lot, you're eating more than you otherwise would to replace those calories, and you're eating junky food, you're getting more junky food in your body than if you didn't even run. And that doesn't make sense to me. I don't think we're gonna outrun our poor diets. I think we should run towards a healthy diet and use that as the mechanism to run better. Your body weight goes down, your energy goes up, your cost of digestion goes down, your hydration goes up. You get the right fueling, glucose and fructose. It's win, 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 win. And the only thing that's hard about it is making a choice to embrace that and go through. You're gonna have cravings. I still have cravings. That's why I had that meatball sub when I was done. Still plant-based, but I wanted, you know, I still have cravings. But only when I'm running for 12 hours, because my body's like, give me calories. So hope you got something from that. Take care. Thank you. Hey, did you like that video? Great. Give it a thumbs up, and it really helps a small channel like us to grow. Give it a comment, ask any questions you have. This is a big topic, and I'm here. I normally go into the comments and I'll reply to as many as I can. And consider subscribing, because we have a whole bunch of videos on the marathon, on the half marathon, on ultra running, on nutrition, on biomechanics, on foot strike. I try to do it at the highest level possible. You have a lot to learn here. I welcome you to our channel. Hit the subscribe link, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.